Hey, it's Mike Festiva here, and this is my review of the HappyRun G300 Pro e-bike. Well, it's kind of an e-bike slash E-Moto. You'll see a little bit more about that as the video progresses. So some of the specs on this bike: it's got a 72-volt battery, fully adjustable front and rear suspension, front and rear hydraulic disc brakes, and it goes about top speed around 48 miles an hour, which is pretty quick for the machine. A lot more specs we're going to cover in this video. The video is actually based on two parts. First is unboxing, assembly, so you get an idea what you need to do to, if you order one of these, how to put it together, setup, and along with that with some maintenance tips. Second part of the video, we're going to cover riding it, realistic battery range, and how I see the best use of this bike, how I will actually use it. I looked a lot of these bikes up on some reviews, and really young dudes reviewing them. And every other word seemed like yo and bro. You're not going to be hearing that much in this video. This is just a middle-aged dude's appreciation of it and how I'm going to use it. So I hope you enjoy the video, and hope you enjoy the honest review. So the bike shipped really quick in two separate boxes. The main components of the bike, wheels, things like that, suspension, and the second box actually contained the battery, charger, pedals, and I think they included a bike lock there. So pretty good shipping, really packed well. Here's the back shock. Only a few things we got to do: install the back shock, which they say is adjustable. Oh, there's one right there. That's nice. Probably adjustable rebound. Disc here, some hardware. One of the crank arms. Separately shipped in a different box was the battery, keys, pedals, charger, and it came with the cable bike lock, which was nice to see that they threw that in there as well. The handlebars are over here, kind of pre-wired up to some of this, so get this on a bike stand and start assembling it. So the assembly went pretty easy. I was using a motorcycle stand. If you don't have one, you could figure it out. The forks were ratchet strapped really tight and compressed to get it in the box. So release the ratchet straps, get the forks ready to put the wheel on. I just ratchet strapped this to the stand so it didn't fall off. Setting up the handlebars here, I recommend using a little blue Loctite and all the hardware you put on here. If you don't have it, just go to the hardware store. Setting up the rotor for the front disc, again, a little blue Loctite. It came with Allen's. I was using my own tools, but it came with a set of tools to put the whole thing together. Again, blue Loctite on them, make sure they're all snugged and centered really well. Getting ready to put the wheel on. First cleaning off the front and rear discs on this thing with a little brake clean in case there's any shipping grease. Pulled out that little red clip for the brakes. Pulling out the axle here. I like to always lube up my axles just to keep them so they don't season the bearings later on if you're getting it really wet. Make sure your rotor's lined up with your caliper there. Slide your axle through. Torque it down on both sides with the Allen's. Really simple assembly. And then tighten down these bottom clamps to keep the axle. This is more like a small motorcycle front axle assembly. I do really like the heavy duty tires this thing has on it, and rims. They're more like a small motorcycle rims and tires. It's a 17 on the rear and a 19 on the front, so it rolls through stuff pretty well. So here I'm just bolting on the rear shock. This does have a Schrader valve on the little bottle there, so you can actually change the air pressure in the shock. It has a preload adjustment, and it has a little adjustment on the bottom. I think it's probably a rebound. Here I'm just fitting up the hydraulic brake levers to this. Anybody can kind of walk through this with the manual here and get this figured out. Putting these little rubber grommets on here, putting the little dashboard display on it, and every plug-in is color coded. There's green goes to green like that, yellow goes to yellow, and so on. Most of it's already done for you out of the box, but there's a few connections you have to make. This is the on-off and speed setting control. Just tidying up the wires so nothing's hanging out and gonna get snagged on some brush when you're riding in the woods. Again, use a little blue Loctite on all your hardware you put on this thing. Getting ready to mount the fender, and I go into a little detail. I didn't really like the way it mounted, so I modified some bolts here. So I'm going to take this fender back off. I don't like how the hardware sticks up just a little bit, hits this bottomless triple clamp. Doesn't sit as flush as I'd like, and it's a little hard to put the hardware in, so I'm going to grind the tops of these screws off just a tiny bit. I just would rather put this on once and not have it come off. So I mean, it feels pretty solid, but I think it can be better if I get rid of those screw tops right there. So I just removed the fender, took an angle grinder to the little nubs of the threads of the bolts sticking out there, ground them down less than 1/8 inch, and it was good to go. So this is the right side crank. It has a sticker, and this is the right side pedal. Left will be marked as well. Little tip for the future: put a little grease on that crank arm spline and a little bit of grease on your pedal threads. It's just going to make it a lot easier if you ever want to change out pedals in the future here. not sure where the battery's at. I got this thing and put it on the charge for the last 2 hours or so. This battery charger is 84 volts output at 5 amps, and it's got a built-in little fan that comes on and off as it warms up, which is nice. Green and red light. Right now it's at red, so it's still putting out power. Battery, it's 72 volt, 30 amp hour. Charge voltage 84. Watt hour capacity, 2,160 watt hours. I think if the battery is fairly low, it's going to take you about 5 to 6 hours to get a full charge if the battery's about dead. I went to go drop the battery in here and I could not get this key to lock it in place. So measure the battery, measure this aluminum bar plate here, and just loosen up these Allens. Measured it up and made sure that little hole at the top was the right height for the key lock. Dropped the battery back in and it locked in place. So you may have to do that on yours. Maybe I had an oddball bike, but just something to note. Let's see if it locks now. Before it went engaged in lock position. There we go. Got the battery in the on lock position. All right, let's see what you gotta do. Hold the button on over here. This is the on button. I think to get it to go, you got to pull the brake lever in. So that's speed 1, 2, 3, 4. Brake light, running light. Got kind of a yellow glow light, bright white, like a combo. Crazy strobe. That's cool. Actually looks like a pretty well built LED and nice aluminum little front number plate. Pretty decent size. I'm 5'7". Almost, yeah, just about flat foot almost on the thing. So one thing to note, even though this bike has pedals, without any assistance, it is awful to pedal. The bike is very heavy, so you definitely need some assistance with the machine. Pedal assist 1, easiest. No, the suspension actually doesn't feel too bad on this thing. For one, it's got plenty of power going up hills. So once you turn it on, it goes through its little paces there and it has a P on the screen. After that, you pull the lever, either front or back brake lever, and it will take it off of park mode and you can go ride it. This is my first real road ride. I put a motorcycle mirror on it just because I want to be able to see riding on the road who's coming up behind me. Got my brother, he's on his trail 125 here. We're ripping up to the corner store to go grab a beer for the evening and just kind of get the bike out and see how it does. Full charge, throttling it the whole time between 35 and 45. And the bike did really good, but granted, I don't think if you're gonna throttle it everywhere you go, I think your mileage range isn't gonna be that great. I bet you could throttle it going 35 and 40 with lots of hills like we're doing here and get 20 to 25 probably miles in that range. You could probably do better if you're taking it a little easy, but I think the way you can get a lot of range on this bike, and I test out later in the video, is using pedal assistance 1, 2, and 3 and keeping your speeds at moderate, 25, 30 and less. You can get quite a bit of mileage out of the battery. I haven't put more than 150 miles on the bike, so it's still, I'm racking up some miles on there, so I don't know the throttling range, but so far it definitely suffers if you're trying to go 45 up hills and stuff like that. Man, that thing is so quiet. Yeah. So it's really quiet when you're ripping down the road on it. Pretty neat. This ride was probably about 15 miles. I got back and it was from 5 bar down to 2 bar. And then after the battery rested for a few minutes, came up to 3, somewhere in that range. So again, I think if you're throttling it, going up a lot of hills, it's gonna suffer on the battery a little bit. You can expect a lot less range than if you're using pedal assist, but it's pretty good. Good way to run up to the store. All right, got basically a full battery. I just ripped down the road about a mile and back earlier, just throttling it, but gonna head out on an evening ride here and go have some fun. Suspension is pretty plush on this thing. Like I said, the suspension is pretty soft, almost a little too soft at some points. I don't feel like the adjustment, even though they have adjustments on there, I've really felt much of a change on the suspension. Maybe it's just me, but it's actually pretty good for rough trails, but it almost seems a little soft for jumping. Mostly just throttling it through here. So it'll go over 35 easily. It goes about 45 to 48, but road's 35. I try to stick in with the speed limit here. Plus, there's lots of deers usually on this part of the road. I do feel the headset is a little too steep of a fork angle. Can cause a little bit of twitchiness when you're riding at higher speeds. So I got out on a ride after work here. I think it was about a 24 mile ride total. And some of it was wide open on the main road for a few miles of fast moving, wide open throttle. But the rest of it was mostly an assistance 3. I think going, 20 to 25 miles an hour on these gravel roads. Even did a little bit of pedaling, get a little exercise here. But the bike did great. Got home and still had 3 bars in the battery. About 3/4 of the way through my ride, I'm going to drop off a bunch of trails, super steep hills. Probably about, I don't know, 6 miles, 7 miles from my place. So on the home stretch. Not bad for working a 10-hour day and commuting for about an hour and a half, having dinner with the family, and still kind of got a 20-mile ride, which is pretty cool. See, I found it, even if you're going faster than your legs want to move, like right there, I'm actually engaging the pedals. Oh, there's my turn. This old road turns into trail. But anyhow, you can be cruising along, pedaling. And even if you're moving your legs, it keeps that pedal assist at a pretty good glide. So the throttle and the pedal assist definitely work on slightly different situations. Pedal assist will only go up so fast and so much power, wattage wise and speed wise, and throttle will take it beyond that, but it still is limited somewhat to the number. So if you put it on pedal assist 2 and the throttle will go up pretty quick, but cap out. Put it on throttle pedal assist 5, it'll take off. Now here's some pretty steep trails, pretty rad, so this is gonna be fun on here. Came through here with some dirt bikes a few months back with my nephew and my brother, and it was a lot of fun. Pretty steep though, like you could try to stop, but mostly just slide out here. One thing I do kind of feel decent about riding the e-bike out here in the super dry woods in midsummer instead of riding a dirt bike is this, no exhaust, no hot parts on the bike, and it's silent. It's almost kind of weird as how silent it is some points. Sure feels like you'd see a cougar up here somewhere. Especially as silent as I am. Crank up the pedal assist, get a little more power out of it when I throttle it over those large roots. Now this one drops into a pretty good hill climb as well. Sure feels like I'm on a dirt bike. I keep thinking dirt bike brakes, but this is set up mountain bike brakes. There we go, big switchback, steep. Definitely steep through here and rocky. Whoa. Jump that a little bit. Definitely fun. Here's a tight switchback. Definitely capable. My other e-bike, there's no way you're gonna be ripping it like that on here. This thing rides similar to one of those pit bikes, maybe a little more mushy suspension, less travel, but one of those like the Storm 125, but a little more mushy. I don't think you could quite hit as many jumps with this as you could with that, but still pop off of stuff, and it's pretty smooth. I haven't bottomed it out on any of these routes on this ride. So I'm going to take this bike trail back here. I got the pedals going. I got on pedal assist 1. It maxes out on a powered up speed at 12 miles an hour. I can pedal faster, I can coast faster than that, but it gives you assistance up the hills. Sounds like I developed a little squeak up front here. I'll have to check that out when I get back. It's pretty comfortable at these speeds on the trail here. So here's the interesting thing about this bike. It's kind of a gray area machine. It's got pedals, and the pedal assist 1 will keep you under 650 watts and less. So technically, you're in the range for like bicycle trails and stuff. This is a hiking and bicycling route you can ride e-bikes on, but it does kind of look like a dirt bike with pedals, so you're probably gonna catch someone's attention. So I think as long as you're riding these areas and being respectful and not going super fast. I mean, these are like mountain bikes will ride on these trails and stuff, but you know, if you're on a paved bike path somewhere, you just kind of don't ruin it for everybody. Like, this thing will assist up to 12 miles an hour in assistance 1. And if you're going to go down one main road, hop on a bike trail, get you, you know, to a different location, just try to be respectful. I think that's the biggest thing, is people, you don't want to be throttling it down those things and not moving your legs and just driving past people super quick. You got to be respectful, and that's the area about this. Other gray areas, it doesn't come with a registration or title. So can you ride it on the road? I put a mirror on this thing. That was nice to see behind me. It's got a brake light and headlight, but it's totally a gray area too for riding on the main paved roads. I think it kind of comes down to the trails and roads around your area and how they're enforced, and they may or may not be legit in your area. I don't know. Around here, it seems pretty low enforcement rate, and I think as long as you're being respectful and not doing anything stupid, you probably get along with it. All right, 79.3 miles. I'm heading out to go get some dinner at a cafe over the mountain here. So this is going to be a little mileage test, kind of real world mileage. I'm going to be running assistance 1, 2, and 3. Right now I'm doing 24, which is maxed out. I'm really not putting any pedal energy in. I'm just doing it to have consistent power. We'll go to about 24, 25. And gonna ride and do probably a 20+ mile ride today. Kind of want to see, got a full charge on here. Gonna go get some dinner at a little cafe and ride some trails, logging roads, and some paved roads. So see how the bike does. All right, got in pedal assistance 1 for the single track, and as long as you're not climbing any super steep hills, it's not too bad. Yeah, a little bit uphill here. Use your legs a little bit, but the bike kicks it up, and it does pretty well for keeping under 650 watts. So the reason I'm using a lot of pedal assistance, I want to get a real world ride battery life on this, and also I'm on a shared use trail, so I'm riding this in 1 to be respectful with others around. And the rest of the ride I'm using pedal assist 2 and 3, and just kind of balancing out to see what you can really get out of this bike. You know, pedal assistance 1 is great for this kind of stuff. I think it maxes out assisting at 12. Honestly, there's other people shared trail, mostly mountain bikers and joggers, and that's a respectful speed. I mean, you can go faster than that, you're just coasting at that point, like, but it's just enough power to kind of help you up the hills. You can use your legs a bit. Probably not gonna piss anybody off. The bike does look a little flashier, so that could be an issue, but I could go actually probably quicker down some of the stuff with a nicer mountain bike, being a lot lighter than this. But I'm not trying to race down. Let's just trying to have a good ride, go get some food this evening, and enjoy a little bit of trails, logging road, and road riding, you know. Get out on a 20+ mile ride in the evening. Good enough for me. Back onto logging road. Gonna kick this up to probably 3 assistance, which at this point I'm not really doing much with other than moving my feet. Just a really consistent way of powering through this. 24, plenty fast to enjoy the scenery and cover some mileage. So another big reason for pedal assistance is I want to get some exercise. After work, I want to go out. I'm going to go have some dinner out at this cafe, but I want to go get a little exercise. All in all, the bike does pretty good. Its pedal assistance 1 and 2 mainly are all you're going to really use it. After that, you really can't keep up because it's really, for the chain sprocket, it's only a single speed bike. But climbing up hills, you can put in assistance 3 on steep hills and still pedal. Suspension is actually pretty good for going over this really rough cobble stuff. Hey, I got out and got my burger, headed out and got home. I think it was probably 19, 20 mile ride. Like I said, got some exercise after work. Now, don't buy a bike like this if you're actually looking to get a lot of exercise. It's just there's better bikes out there. This is going to be something you can utilize for putting in the back of your RV. There's going to be no gas, smells leaking out of anything. You can take it on stealthy little trips. So you take it out in the mountains, go mushroom picking in the fall, exploring. Those are the ways I'm going to utilize it. I got a little tiny cabin. I'm going to probably leave it out in my little cabin because it can sit out there for months, hold a battery charge. No gas to go bad, no smell of gas when you open up the cabin. Just another way to explore and keep a bike at a different location for riding different logging roads, exploring Forest Service roads, trails. Pretty simple little machine, but there's better bikes for just getting straight up exercise. This is more like a E-Moto, e-bicycle. It's got its niches, but it's also got its gray areas. So you got to kind of figure out where it fits best for you. So I did 19 miles on the odometer, rode in pedal assist 3, 2, and 1. Still got 3 bars, never saw it dip down to 2. So I think you could pedal assist like I was using, probably get a good 40, maybe 50. If you stayed out 3 and didn't climb as many hills as I did, but I had a lot of elevation gain. Pretty good. That was an awesome ride tonight. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Full disclosure, I want to let you guys know that HappyRun sent this bike out for me to try out, and if I want to make a review, so here's a review. They did not pay me anything for it, and I didn't even sign up for their affiliate program, so it doesn't matter where you buy and order this bike. I'm not getting any compensation from that. They did not pay me to make the video. I just wanted to do this independently. Told them I just want to be able to make a full honest review of the bike and share my own thoughts on it. So that's it. So if you're interested in this bike, I'll share last final thoughts on it, what I think I like and dislike about it. What I don't like about the bike is I think the display could be better. It feels like there's a lot of colors on display. It gives you your basics like tripometer, odometer, speeds, pedal assistance, stuff like that, and wattage. But I feel like they could have put more information on the display. Even the battery indicator, instead of 5 bar, maybe a 10 bar battery indicator, so you have a better idea of your range or estimated range, and maybe a voltmeter on there too. And I think the biggest complaint I have with the bike is the steering tube head angle is very steep. So if you're going down the road fairly quick, it feels a little twitchy and a little squirrely. I think if they would have put a more of a raked out steering head tube angle, it would have been more relaxed. It would have been better for steep trails and going faster on the road. I can work around that. I can deal with that, but that's probably my biggest complaint about the bike. What I do like, it's got plenty of power for ripping down roads, up hills, goes plenty fast, and suspension's buttery smooth. It's great for exploring trails and logging roads. I'm going to personally be using this a lot on the back of my mini truck for mini truck camping trips in the future. Also going to take it over to this little snowboard cabin I have, stash it out there for if I'm over there in the summer months to go explore trails and logging roads. I'm going to utilize this as a tool for exploring for me. It's silent, it's nice to be on, no carburetors, no fuel to mess with, and just have fun with it. It seems robust enough that I think you're going to get quite a few years of riding out of it, especially if you take care of the battery. So that's my thoughts on the bike. I like it. You'll just have to weigh out if it's something you could use and utilize, and hope you enjoyed an honest review of this machine. All right, until next time, take care. Bye.